Life comes first, but lifestyle also matters. Anthropologists have produced uniquely valuable contributions addressing the pandemic's manifold present and future implications. While these reflections represent an important contribution for the study of the multiple social and cultural macroscopic impacts of the pandemic, I would like to focus on how the pandemic is also impacting our appearance enhancing practices, bringing huge changes to our self care routines. How has COVID 19 changed our relationship with aesthetics? This paper draws from my previous research on the relationship between the financial recession in Portugal and the increase of investment on aesthetic practices in the context of the project Excel that I coordinate at the Institute of Social Sciences of the University of Lisbon. My actual research is based on the fieldwork I've conducted in the last 12 months with Portuguese middle-class women aged between 30 and 60 years old, investigating their aesthetic improvement practices during the pandemic. Even if aesthetic is also an important issue for male subjects, I've conducted interviews predominantly with women. In my interviews, I have noticed an inclination on heterosexual men to value more success rather than beauty, regarding the social construction of their image. The topic of masculinization fillers to build a powerful profile as indicator of leadership competencies is, in my opinion, very interesting, but unfortunately it is not the theme of the present paper. I've carried out a multi-method research strategy employing in-depth ethnography, and life stories. I've undertaken participant observation in private aesthetic clinics, interviewing 23 middle-class Portuguese women, accompanying them in their aesthetic transformations during the lockdown periods. I've also interviewed 7 healthcare professionals and 2 investors who opened new cosmetic clinics in Lisbon during the pandemic in order to respond to the increasing of the demand. The beauty industry has largely been considered recession-proof, a phenomenon called lipstick effect. My current question is, could this new crisis have a different outcome? In my research, I encountered some behaviors that seem to me kind of irrational, especially in a moment in which the most important is to survive. For example, acquiring luxury cosmetic items or spending time and money in aesthetic interventions in a moment of global sanitarian crisis, or the investment of surgeons and healthcare practitioners in aesthetic clinics when they might be useful in hospital settings and intensive care units. The impact of the pandemic cannot be overstated. Most of us know someone who suffered from this horrible virus. It has distracted our daily life, from our businesses to our leisure activities, and it has taken away loved ones and upended the economy. With people staying indoors, scared and confused, covering their face with masks, it is conceivable that this will lead to a decreased desire for facial cosmetic procedures, but the opposite has occurred. In Portugal, for example, cosmetic sectors such as hairdressers and beauty salons were the first commercial activities to reopen after the lockdowns. Even more surprisingly, plastic surgery and aesthetic medicine clinics stayed open during the lockdowns. In fact, in Lisbon, we witnessed the opening of at least 2 new centers during the pandemic in order to respond to the customer pressure. If during the first months of the pandemic I noticed a certain moralization regarding the consumption of aesthetic interventions in time of global crisis, however, the discourse quickly changed, and in a concise form, the following issues arose. Beauty as emergency ritual, beauty as care, quarantine gives me new opportunities, the new perfect me. Beauty as emergency ritual. I couldn't help thinking about all those deaths, which made my anxiety worse because it's not a scenario I can control. The bath is a kind of organized relaxation. I'm so focused on the task at hand that I had no time to focus on any anxiety-inducing thought. The world around me might be on fire, but my little bubble is safe. The hours I dedicated to myself each day let me escape from the chaos. The current worldwide crisis are disrupting normal routines. With so many things out of control, an innate beauty routine is a gift. It's something I can do. It's one thing where I still have a choice. I focus my mind every time I engage in methodical self-care. When I'm in a time of crisis, cultivating my body can be a lifesaver. When all my normal schedules became hectic, my quarantine beauty routine turned to a chance of self-nourishment to maintain a sense of time and order, to recover a minimum of normalcy. In chaotic times, I turn to the same few steps: cleanse, cry, moisturize. The coronavirus has shown that we need rituals and routines during crises. But why do we need them? The anthropology of disasters offers a key to understanding. Every disaster has an all-encompassing character that, in addition to pain and loss, causes spatial, moral, and social disorder. A ritualized routine is a project of order and reorganization, a form to control the chaos. The ritualized routines associated with the pandemic, secular or devotional, individual or collective, such as the songs and applauses at the same hour from the balconies, the rainbows, and so on, are increasingly evident and part of our daily life. My interviewees refer to their beauty routines as a way of containing the chaos, of creating an illusion of calm, a safe space to dominate anxiety. The ritual here is a kind of mindful oasis. Beauty as care. During the COVID-19 pandemic, I have spent more time at home and changed my behaviors, focusing more on well-being, body and soul harmony, combining healthy beauty and self-care benefits. Beauty is physical, mental, and emotional self-caring, but we do also have to care for the environment. To give me only organic products is the step I take to express self-love and self-respect for me and the planet, and that's why I do it. Consumers have changed the way they buy and use cosmetics and personal care products. They talk about beauty therapy, self-care routines, health, and natural products, preferring to buy products labeled cruelty-free, clean, hypoallergenic, non-toxic, and organic. Consumers want to know more about key ingredients, looking, for example, at the percentage of vitamin C. Products must give consumers a sense of protection, health, and self-care. Quarantine gives me new opportunities. I felt a sense of increased freedom during the lockdown. This freedom has reaffirmed my desire to undergo cosmetic treatments. The flexibility of working from home can aid my post-procedure downtime and enable a discreet recovery. I want to emerge from lockdown a better version of myself. After this terrible year, I feel I deserve a reward. I don't want to look different, just better. When I invest my money in cosmetic surgery, it's a boost of self-confidence. In some ways, it is how I show up for myself that I am the single most important thing in the world. After all, who am I doing this for anyway? The quarantine has clearly jump-started a trend of shame-free, self-inspired beauty aspirations, which is always for the best, going under the knife or not. Everyone apparently wants to get back to normal post-lockdown life in great shape. Anticipating my conclusion, my research shows beyond doubt that in Portugal, during the pandemic, the consumption of cosmetic products and treatments has increased dramatically. Social pressure to emerge from the pandemic as a better version of oneself appears to have resulted in stigma for those who haven't used the time for self-improvement or who haven't the money to pay for treatments. With amped up betterment messaging on social media about getting in shape, we know that we have to emerge from lockdown better version of ourselves, also using drastic measures to keep up. The specific condition of the present moment linked to the future prospect of increased competition? Are people investing in their appearance to increase their social and professional opportunities in the economic meltdown triggered by the coronavirus outbreak? Investing in their appearance is a common strategy to promote personal competitiveness according to the logic of excellence. In addressing competition for likes and follows, the demands a domesticated, unblemished body always ready for the camera. The new perfect me. I was like, oh my God, they'll all be looking at my face. I thought, oh, maybe I need to do some stuff with my lip lines. I was looking at them going, they're way deeper than I thought. I look really grumpy. For a photo, you make the nicest expression you can, and you don't move. But on Zoom, you are seeing yourself talk. That's not what I look like in my selfies. Many articles refer to Snapchat dysphoria, selfie dysphoria, and Zoom dysphoria as subtypes to body dysphoric disorders. These dysphorias can be triggered by excessive staring and self-reflecting on distorted images of ourselves. Before the coronavirus pandemic, if someone had told me that spending hours on Zoom, Teams, and Skype every day, or having all our social interactions in social media, would spark cosmetic surgery trends, I probably would have thought they were referencing a plot point from Black Mirror. While COVID-19 has revolutionized how we interact, humans continue to be inherently social beings. We crave human interaction, but in normal times during meetings, one will focus on others, whereas during lockdown, due to the digital reality we have had to adapt to, we have been forced to focus on ourselves. Multiple aesthetic and cosmetic surgeons I've spoken to over the last 3 months tell me they are surprised to hear people bringing up Zoom during their consultations. It is not only a Zoom dysphoria phenomenon. The demand for cosmetic procedures is linked in part to the rise of posting selfies on social media platforms such as Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. New patients are joining the queue to get glowing skin in real life to match the filtered digital lens they've been using over the past month. Certain injectable and aesthetic treatments, such as the Zoom-ready cosmetic procedures, the Zoom Doom injectables, or the Glammy Insta filler, are new trending as a result of how we look in an itty-bitty square whilst working from our living rooms. The pandemic, among immense other things, has also revealed a veritable epidemic of problematic personal and social issues tied to our obsession with appearance. I'm not arguing here that we are superficial people. In fact, there is nothing superficial about body appearance or beauty, and that's why they matter. The body carries with it a dense history of meanings regarding race, class, gender, sexuality, disability, and age. The technologies of self-improvement in our contemporary era are, using Donna Haraway's words, knowledge power processes that describe and materialize the world in some forms rather than others. These knowledge power processes reinforce the body norms that end up excluding the most vulnerable people in society. In our very unequal world, this means that a wide swath of humanity is largely excluded from these technologies of self-improvement as the more desirable technologies become branded as luxury items limited to those with access to the best healthcare systems or to those with the purchasing power to buy the ideal body. As I have pointed out in my recently edited book with Álvaro Jarrín, The Remaking the Human, the body norm becomes a morality tale that blames those outside the norm for their condition, portraying them as lazy, unruly, and negligent, for having bodies that do not measure up. Our apparently free choice is constrained and shaped by embodied forms of inequality that push us to see ourselves as imperfect and to find in aesthetic biotechnologies the solution of our imperfections. And thank you so much.